Hey everybody, Dave here from Philly Tech Entrepreneurs. Thank you for tuning in to this month's webinar in our monthly marketing series. I'm going to give 30 to 60 seconds before I dive in. Although these are recorded, I think you can catch them on YouTube, LinkedIn. We put them on our website. So if you arrive late or, just or need to leave early, it will be there. But I do want to kind of give no one ever arrives like exactly on time, right? Other than myself. Yeah, so give another little bit before we get started. All right. That being said, let's kind of dive into it. I've got my screen shared. I don't. I'll be kind of going full screen on the slideshow. We're going to talk about keyword research today. It's not the sexiest of topics. It's not the most exciting, but it is important. Especially if you're doing anything related to digital marketing. So let's see what we uncover. Very briefly about me, in case you don't know who I am. I think first and foremost, we are Philly Tech Entrepreneurs. This is our monthly marketing webinar that we do. We did a series last month. We talked about website conversions and improving those. This month is keyword research, and I personally have been doing digital marketing for over a decade, and I run an inbound marketing agency. And so while I don't want to consider myself the utmost authority on keyword research, it's definitely something I'm familiar with and hope to kind of share that knowledge with others. If you know anything about keyword research and in the space, there are going to be aspects of this webinar that might come across as a little basic, and I purposefully titled it the fundamentals of keyword research because it's not necessarily meant to be advanced tips and tricks and things like that. I'm kind of going in with the assumption that most people have at most kind of a general idea of keyword research, and what keywords are. And so we're kind of going to discuss those. We'll show some examples. I'll show some tools, and we'll just kind of talk about the concepts to hopefully make it useful for you. Like most people, very few people it's their job exclusively to do, keyword research and things like that. They need to have a general understanding to be able to talk about the concepts, be strategic about it, but they don't, live and breathe it every day. So firstly, with that being said, let's talk about what keywords actually are. So basically, it's quite simple. When somebody puts a keyword into a search engine, in most cases, we're talking about Google, those words that they use are what we think of as keywords. When somebody has an intention within Google to find something, they're usually selecting keywords that they believe are going to be useful in helping them get the appropriate results. Once we start to get a little more specific into what keywords are, we can kind of classify them as keywords that maybe have like buyer intention or informational or branded. So a buyer intention might mean there's a product that I want to buy. Information might mean that I want to know about learn more about a topic. And branded might be a specific type, like a company or some type of like I said, specific kind of model or of the product. And so these are all different ways in which somebody could be searching about a topic, but the intention is going to be different in each case. Sometimes you're looking to buy, sometimes you're looking to learn, sometimes you're looking to find more about a particular product. And so understanding all of that is important, because when you're trying to approach a keyword, you have to understand what type of content the searcher is intending to find and make sure that you're creating the content that is, for them and is relevant. Now, it's important to kind of discuss that, keywords are not, the end all be all strategy within SEO. They usually play a part within a broader strategy, and they are very important. In fact, I would say in many ways they are kind of underutilized part of the process. whenever you write content or create content on a search engine, whether it's a YouTube video or a podcast to be hosted on iTunes or a blog article to be found in Google, keyword research should be an underlying part of why you chose to create that specific content. We are all limited in our time and our resources, and so every time you take an opportunity to create content about one thing, that's an opportunity to create content about something else that didn't happen. And so you want to be kind of maximizing efficiently the types of content and the keywords that you target. Additionally, when we think about any type of on-page SEO, so like what types of words we want to be on your website, on your homepage, on your landing pages, on your blog articles. Again, keyword research is a part of that. And then finally, if we talk about link building, which is another service, so to speak, within SEO, which is about getting people to link to your website. Keyword research is also an important part of that because the keywords that you are linked to or by is kind of a factor in what tells Google what you should ultimately rank for. So, yes, this is kind of niche. Yes, this is not something that we usually spend a ton of time on, but it is really kind of an overlooked element within inbound marketing. And so hopefully you being here to kind of learn about it will bridge some of that gap. So how do we actually evaluate keywords? We know that, like I mentioned, somebody puts keywords in a search engine, but that they're not all the same. Every keyword has a different amount of people searching for it. It has a different difficulty. It has a different competition. And we need to understand that not all keywords are created equal. And we need to understand what that means for our ability to compete for that keyword. Because ultimately, when we're doing keyword research, our intention is that we want to rank for these keywords. We want to be found for these keywords. And if we're not understanding the metrics associated with the keyword, then we may not actually have a realistic strategy. And so with keywords, there's a couple metrics that we typically kind of look at. One of them is a difficulty, and every tool is going to kind of handle this like a little bit differently because there's no ultimate truth for the difficulty of a keyword. There are estimations that tools use to kind of help inform people, help them make decisions, but it's definitely an estimation. And nevertheless, that doesn't mean that it isn't valid. And in most cases, tools are going to be kind of aligned on what's hard and what's easy. It's just that the exact numbers themselves might like vary a bit. But so keyword difficulty is a pretty common metric that we're going to take a look at. Normally, this is something from 0 to 100. The higher it is, the more difficult it is. And that difficulty comes from what are the sites that are already ranking for that keyword and how hard would it be to basically like beat them at that game. And so if you've got a keyword that a lot of heavy hitter sites are ranking for, like a Forbes or something like that, then that's going to be a hard keyword. Whereas if you have a niche keyword that nobody's really paying attention to, it might be kind of easier to rank for it in a site that maybe doesn't have a lot of authority or doesn't have a ton of authority is really the word I'm looking for. We'll have an easier time ranking for it. So keyword difficulty is super important. Another important metric is the search volume. Search volume is often displayed as, if you're in the States, you'll see kind of like a local search volume for, how many people in the US are searching for something. And then you'll see like a global search volume, which is how many people in the world are searching for something. This is obviously an important distinction because if your product is not available to everybody over the course of the world, or all that traffic maybe doesn't seem like it's created equal, then you want to make sure that you are not artificially inflating the opportunity by looking at the global search volume when you should be looking at, more like the domestic search volume, wherever it is that you are. So you can see here, this 4.9K refers to specifically the United States traffic. And this is a pretty important distinction. Search volume ultimately represents the kind of how many people per month are searching for it, which is kind of like the upper limit of how many people could find us in a month for that keyword. But again, it's important to kind of understand that just because 5,000 people are searching for it every month does not mean that I'm going to get 5,000 visitors. Like, traffic gets distributed across all the people ranking for it. There will be people that have paid to be at the top of the search, and then there will be a rank of everybody who is ranking for these keywords. And in all likelihood, you are going to get a fraction of that traffic at most. Even if you're at the top, you may only get 25 to 30% of that overall search volume. And so, you kind of have to understand, like, when you're looking at the search volume and you're evaluating whether or not this is a good opportunity, like, well, what would it actually be if I only got a fraction of this? Which is why if you see search volumes that are like in the hundreds or less, unless that keyword is super valuable, then often it is kind of like, there's not a lot of opportunity there. As you start to kind of get into thousands or maybe tens of thousands, then you can say there's usually more opportunity here. But as you would imagine, that often goes with higher keyword difficulty, because where there's more opportunity, there tends to be more competition. And so these metrics kind of have this reverse correlation that you'll often see being the case. Um, when we are looking at keywords, there are keywords that we would like to rank for, but there are also going to be keywords that you are already ranking for, and you may not even know this. But when you have a website on the internet and you have content on there, that content is going to be associated with keywords, and you are likely going to be ranking for all of it. Ultimately, it's the search engine, it's Google that kind of decides who ranks for what. So you might not be ranking for what you want to be ranking for. You may not be ranking where you want to be ranking, but there's usually some sort of presence here, which is, the source of your organic traffic. So this is a screenshot from a tool that, we use at my marketing agency. It's called Ahrefs. And basically it's someone has put in a website, and in this case, it looks to be like Monday.com, which is like a project management productivity tool. And you can see they have a lot of blog posts, they have some templates, and all of these different URLs are ranking for keywords because of the relevance factor. This is an article about project management. It's a guide to project management. It's ranking for project management. Project management has a search volume of like 67,000. That may be a global search volume. It has a keyword difficulty of 66, which is very high because it's project management. It's a pretty kind of like solid term, right? And they are currently ranking 8 in the search engine. So they're on page 1, but they're on the bottom. And because they're ranking 8, they're getting around 1,600 visitors per month out of this volume. And so that kind of gives us a little bit of an understanding of, what we are ranking for and what value we were getting out of it. And of course, one article rarely would only rank for a single keyword. Usually an article could rank for many keywords because there could be 1,000 or 1,000 words in this article, and therefore there's just a lot of opportunities for Google to kind of say, well, this is relevant to this, is relevant to that, and things just kind of, and so the overall value of this article is kind of, the summation of all the different keywords and the traffic and the rankings that it kind of gets. But definitely understanding kind of what you're ranking for now is a pretty interesting insight if you're, an established business that's generating organic traffic, because this can tell us, this can inform our SEO strategy in a number of ways and tell us kind of where to focus, where we want to try to improve our rankings, where we should try to optimize the website, things of that nature. But there is also hey, I have other keywords that I want to rank for that I'm not ranking for at the moment. And the reason why you might not be ranking for them is if there's just not enough content on your website for that topic to kind of be relevant for it. And so that's where we have to start to kind of do the research and do some brainstorming. And so the process of keyword research that, someone who's an SEO will typically do is they'll look at the business, they'll look at the products, the services that are sold, and they'll try to imagine, what the different topics are that somebody who was interested in these products and services would search for. So in this case, this is a business that sells dance sneakers, right? But within dance sneakers, there are dance sneakers for kids, or kids could be called children's, or within children's, there's boys and girls. Or we could have, a specific color of a dance sneaker, or a type like high top and wedge, or maybe a style of music like jazz. These are all the different like thought processes that somebody goes through when they're looking for a keyword. Sorry, not when they're looking for a keyword, when they're looking for a product. And then if you feel that what you sell is relevant to that, maybe you sell dance sneakers, and yes, kids could buy them. Yes, some of them are black. Yes, some of them are good for jazz. That's when you kind of all want to build this kind of entire pool of potential keywords that say, hey, it'd be great if we ranked for these, because if we rank for these, people that are searching for these are going to come across our brand, and it's going to be a good fit, and they're going to want to buy them. And then you kind of put this in a table, where you've got the keyword, you've got the difficulty. In this case, these difficulties are very low, right? Because I said it was like from 0 to 100. You've got a search volume. Again, these search volumes are also pretty low. And then you can kind of see, like, are you ranking for this or not? And we'll do a little thing at the agency, and we'll kind of try to kind of find, what we sort of call like a low hanging fruit. Like, where is there a good low difficulty and a good high search volume? And when you've got both of those, and then you've got the relevance from the business, and it provides business value, like this buyer intent to that keyword. That's when you kind of have a winner. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about prioritizing these keywords, because I'm just looking at this here. There's probably 50 or so keywords. Um, that is a lot of potential content to create, but they are not all equal. There's not all equal opportunity here. And so we want to kind of understand how we can prioritize, and ultimately how we can group them. And this is an important part of understanding, the keyword strategy as well, because people search in different ways, but they're often talking about the same thing. So, for example, when we talk about kids' dance shoes, somebody might write kids' dance sneakers, they might write children's dance sneakers, they might write black dance sneakers, for children. Like, there's no right or wrong way to search for a keyword. Even us ourselves will often vary, like the way in which we search for the same thing. And so these aren't justified to be all individual pieces of content, or they should be clustered, they should be grouped. It would make sense that we would maybe want to create an article or a video or something like that that kind of included all of these keywords, and we could consider it like that was the asset on our website that was relevant for those keywords. And that's going to be very different from platform high top wedge sneakers. That's going to be very different from hip hop shoes, or dance sneakers for hip hop. Somebody who's searching for hip hop sneakers is maybe not looking for kids dance shoes, or for a wedge, sneaker. And so we kind of want to understand the entire lay of the land for the keywords, and then start to kind of group them. And then ideally, when we create that content, we're sort of understanding, like, okay, well, these are the different things this article could rank for. And this is what the total opportunity is. It's not just, kids dance sneakers, which only has 20 search volume. Oh, okay, I guess I shouldn't write about kids dance sneakers then. No, there's lots of other keywords that are contributing to that, and could be, could help tip the scale into an opportunity that seems good to go after. So I just want to briefly show a little bit about, like, what it's like to actually use a tool, and kind of where you find these things, because that was all like screenshots. It was all some spreadsheets, things like that. There are a lot of tools online that will give you some insights into keywords. Some of them are paid, some of them are free, and you know. Unless you are doing this type of stuff regularly or for a living for clients, then you usually don't need like a paid tool, right? Because you're just not that much of a power user. Even something like ChatGPT can give you keyword suggestions, but ChatGPT is not likely going to have the data insights into like search volume and difficulty and things like that, because that honestly comes from these tools having scraped the web, and they understand the competition, and they can kind of give you a condensed version of what they found. And so one tool that you can take a look at is Uber Suggest. And I'll be honest, I'm not uber proficient in this tool because we do use like some paid tools at work. But at the end of the day, like for someone who's just looking to get their feet wet and kind of get an understanding of their market and the different keywords and things like that, this is a good way to just kind of play around. And so I put in a keyword like goat milk formula because I was talking with this young woman at a networking event the other day for Philly tech entrepreneurs, and this is kind of her business. And so I was like, oh, I wonder kind of what the deal is with this. So I ran a search. Like most free tools, there's going to be kind of like a limit on how much you can do in a day. But some of the things you'll see, and just to kind of take this back to the presentation is search volume. Okay. And a lot of times, with any metric, they will have a little overlay that will clarify exactly what this means. Because again, like I said, all metrics are like uniquely defined on the platform that you're searching on. So in this case, they said the number of searches this particular keyword has during a month. They didn't indicate whether it was global or what the traffic sources were, but I'm kind of inclined to believe this is global. Just the lack of saying it, that makes it feel like that's the default answer. They have the SEO difficulty, which is basically like, hey, we've looked at who's ranking for this, and this is the estimated, competition. And so they've given it a 40, which is kind of like a medium. And then they have these things over here, which is about paid. And so that's an important distinction because these first two, well, this SEO difficulty is about ranking organically for these keywords, and the paid difficulty is about paying for traffic. And while you end up in the same place, like you end up in Google, and someone kind of finding you through search, it's still a very different channel. It's a very different strategy. And so you have to kind of make sure that if you are thinking about approaching this from an SEO perspective, like you're looking to create content and rank it, that you're looking at the right metrics and not the other ones, because that's going to be it's going to lead you down a different path. Um, a lot of keyword tools will take one keyword and then they will give you some variations to try to kind of tell you where else you might want to look. And then they will give you some other, different metrics related to them. Usually you have like what they call like a parent keyword. So it's like goat milk formula is kind of like the top keyword. And then you have these like additional spin-offs of it, which usually have a lower search volume and are less difficult. But that often is kind of where the magic is, because the top level parent keywords are just very saturated, right? But then when you start to dig a little deeper, you start to understand where you could have these specific content strategy approaches to each of them, because there's only so many articles you can write about goat milk formula. But once you start to kind of get in goat milk formula for infants, goat milk powder, whatever it is, now all of a sudden you've got a runway of content you can consider. They will have these are, I guess, other websites and their respective content that are ranking for them. So, for example, they're essentially the competitors, in sort of the specific article that is relevant to them. And then again, some data that is justifying why they've decided how competitive this is. And they're looking at kind of, how many people are linking to these articles, and how many times it's been shared, and how much traffic it's getting. And all of that is kind of just sort of telling us like, is this difficult or not? And so at the end of the day, there's still like a lot of interpretation that has to be gleaned from, looking at this, because you can look at this and you might still not necessarily understand, like, so should I write about this or not? And that's, where the nuance is, honestly. Like, there is not like a formula. My site is this, and this is the keyword difficulty. Is this going to work or not? You have to kind of start to develop a little bit of intuition. You have to kind of see what your ability has been like to rank naturally for different keywords and what those difficulties were. And then essentially, would that then translate over to some other keyword that you're not ranking for if you wrote the content? So fascinating world of keyword research. And I don't know if there are any questions, but if you want to follow up with me, and you say, hey, I like the presentation and I'm thinking of pursuing this market and trying to understand whether or not SEO is going to be like a good channel for me. I don't know if there's opportunity here, or you just like you're looking for some ideas for keywords. You can schedule a call with us at shortlist.io. You can message me in Philly Tech Entrepreneurs, like in the Slack chat. All those are would be great. I'd be happy to hear from you and to help you. So thank you very much.